everybody, and welcome. Some housekeeping before we get into the actual video today. So I'm in between equipment right now as I'm trying out new, even like basically new everything. Now that I really think about it, I'm got like new cameras, new microphones, new hardware. So for the first like month or two, my videos are probably going to be inconsistent with the quality and audio as I try to play with the best settings for everything. But hopefully by end of June, maybe even hopefully not too long, but at the end of June or July, one of those months, I should have my PC fully built, fully working, and then have everything else ready, and then the consistency start being a little bit better then. I just want to apologize in advance because I know some of the camera quality and some of the audio quality might not be the best, but please bear with me as I'm working on building everything and getting everything fully up and ready. So with that out of the way, welcome again. This is going to be a running series throughout the summer. And this will be my first series on the channel where I'm basically just been going over and ranking NFL teams. So how I'm going to do it is basically once a week, potentially either at the middle of the week or Friday, Saturday. I'm going to release a ranking once a week of an NFL team. And what this ranking is going to be is obviously how they're going to rank. So I'm going to start from 32 to 1. And basically, so say for example, this week we're going with the 32nd team. Next week will be the 31st team. And we're going to do that all the way until September 9th on Thursday, which is week 1. So there are going to be some weeks where I might have to double up due to when I'm starting, but it'll just depend basically like on the team and how long each video is on which teams get the double updates. And most of those double updates are going to happen towards the end of the summer when we get towards the better teams. So but how I'm going to do this too is basically I'm going to send my bases off the amount. Already looked at the NFL power rankings and I kind of have an idea how I'm going to do my own. So it might look a little similar, but it's not. Don't think that I just went strictly based off the NFL power rankings. I'm going to do it based off those rankings, how the team played last season, and then their off-season moves, and just like potential, basically a lot of it on potential based on the moves they made. And we're just going to do it based on the potential of the moves they made, the people on the roster, and how the team could possibly look. So to begin, we're going to go with the 32nd ranked team, and uh, I'll be honest, this video is probably going to be a little bit shorter than the rest because I just I don't know how this team can have any potential. Okay, so like I said, bear with me for the lights again. It's going to be very inconsistent as the lights are moving in and out. So for the 32nd ranked team, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and honestly, this is a really tough choice for me. I was looking there. I was between them, the Houston Texans, and after looking at some of the first week schedules, there were a few other bottom feeder teams for this year that I thought might be last, but I had to go with the Jaguars because I just watching them last year. Their games were really hard to watch. I mean, they had 3 wins all last year against Miami, Buffalo, and Indianapolis that everyone loved to talk about at the end of the season. But I mean, just looking at their stats, points per game, 14. I mean, 14. 14. That's not very good. And then yeah, yards ranked 27th, points of play ranked 31st, and yards of play ranked 20. I mean, they're bottom of the league in pretty much anything. And that was just overall. If you look at their rushing, they were 26th. The passing was 7th. So, pass play percentage was 7th, which is makes sense because they only scored 14 points a game, so they're probably down the majority of their games. But I mean, just looking at these stats, it's just it's not hard to honestly see why this is like one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. I mean, I know it's new management and all that, and they're turning it around, but after last year, it's a lot of the same roster as last year. They did add the big key agent, excuse me, the big free agent signings that they ended up having were some big names. I'll name 3 of them were Evan Ingram, who's a tight end, Zay Jones, and wide receiver, and then Christian Kirk, who's another wide receiver. And one of the issues another reason I put this at the bottom team is I feel like they personally really overpaid for Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is a pretty good speed threat, and he's a really good wide receiver. Okay, I take that back. He's a pretty good wide receiver, not really good. But regardless, the amount they paid him, it was just like I feel like you definitely could have got him for cheaper. Some teams weren't overlooking. to pay a receiver like him that much. And when it comes down to, usually when a team overpays a player like that, it's almost like a danger light in the room. Like, oh, what are these guys doing? There are times where it could potentially work out. Obviously, like Christian Kirk could end up being their number one receiver after this year with how good he could play, but it's just with how much they paid him and what was on the market. So it's just like I feel like they could have done it a little bit better. And then when it comes to like the draft, we'll get to that in a second. When it comes to looking at their schedule, I just going through it, I could potentially see going like I don't think they're going to beat the Commanders. They possibly could. I mean, the way Carson Wentz played that last game, I don't know if it's a Colts thing or if it's a Carson Wentz thing, but they could potentially be able to win there. I'm going to pray to God that they don't beat the Colts twice. I mean, I don't know, but if they do, there's maybe one of their wins, so either week 2 or week 6, which they beat the Colts again, dude. I swear to God. Well, no, looking at the back of the rest of their schedule, though, in all seriousness, Houston twice. There's a potential win they might be able to get there. Maybe the Giants with how bad they're playing, but the Jaguars aren't much better. Uh, I really respect Detroit this year. I think they're going to be a little bit of a sleeper team to get. They're going to get, I don't know, they'll get a few more wins than I think most people think they will. Um, but yeah, so basically going through their schedule, looking at it, if I had to guess, I would say maybe a win against Houston. So we're going to say one win against Houston since they played them twice. I don't think they're going to beat the Colts twice this year. They just better not. So assuming they don't beat the Colts twice this year, I say they maybe beat the Giants. I'd That's 2 wins. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, maybe if they get lucky and beat the Jets too. So at best, right now, looking at it, I see them as a 3 or 4 win team, and that's not very good. It's just their roster. I feel like is just in the middle of a rebuild phase, obviously, but like in what direction? It seems like they're literally in the middle of where obviously they're building around Trevor Lawrence, and he has the potential to be really really good. But it almost seems like the Jags kind of don't know where they want to go. When it comes to the draft, like I mentioned, they had the first overall pick, and a lot of the stuff I was reading is they really wanted to trade back. So that way they didn't get stuck with a choice. And sure enough, nobody called. They got stuck with a choice. And I don't know, Trayvon Walker, I didn't watch too much of his film, so I'm not gonna say if he's gonna be good or bad, but usually drafting a rookie player, it's really hard for them to be an impact right away, especially on the defensive side. Like, yes, there are obviously the examples of players who are really, really, really impactful, but just looking at that team as a whole, I just don't know how. And the fact they got the number one pick twice in a row, 2 years in a row, I don't know how they're going to be able to. I just don't know how they're going to be able to get past most of these teams. I mean, they just going back to the stats from last year. I mean, they averaged 35 passes a game, which is top 10 in the NFL, but or almost top 10 in the NFL is ranked 11th. And then, but somehow they managed to only throw for about 200 yards a game. Basically, the math on that is their quarterback is averaging 5 yards to play, which I mean, not bad. There's 2 passes to first down, but if you just watch their offense this year, there was just times or excuse me, if you watch their offense last year, there was just times it was bad. I mean, I like looking across there, I just felt bad for Trevor Lawrence because it felt like they were almost not competitive. And then they had all the background stuff with Urban Meyer going on and all that. It was just very, very tough season for the Jaguars. But looking at their defense too, as you can see the stats again, they're all bottom of the league in opponents like offense, giving them yards. Uh, let's see, yeah, their rush defense was actually well, look at some of these stats. Their defense wasn't like absolutely terrible. They have some highlight stats here and there, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, their last year was a definitely a forgettable season for the Jaguars, and this year might be looking like it's another one of them. I mean, there's a reason a lot of people say the AFC South is one of the worst divisions of football, and it's because of the bottom two teams. And when it comes to the Jaguars, honestly, and them being a 3-win team or a 4-win team, I have to pick. So if I had to go, if you held me at gunpoint and I had to pick the record this game, I'm gonna pick them to beat the Giants, but I don't feel good about it. So that's one, two, three, four. So yeah, they went 0-4 to start, 0-4 to start before they get their first win, and then they lose another game to make them 1-5. So now they're 2-6, then 2-7, 2-8, 2-9, 2-10 with a 4-game gauntlet, and then 2-11, 2-12, 2-13. If they get yet again, I'm gonna say for them just because I feel bad about how much I've honestly bashed the Jaguars. I'm gonna say they maybe win this game, but I'm not confident either. There's 3-13, 14, 15. So I say they got one, two, three, four. So they're gonna lose their first 4 games for sure. Maybe beat Houston. Yeah. So giving them the wins I did because, like I said, I do feel bad for bashing them. I I give them at best they go 4-13, but I'm gonna give them 3-14. Remind you, this is not me just being a Colts fan and just saying, "Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars have always been bad." I truly don't know what this team's gonna do next year. Honestly, I mean, like they're pretty bad to watch last year, and they made some decent signings. I will admit they have made a few good signings in some areas they need, but I just don't think it's enough, especially this year with how deep some of the rosters are. I don't think it's going to be very much enough for them to do anything. So thank you. That's going to be the end of this for the Jaguars. That's going to be the end of this power ranking episode. So most episodes are going to go very similar to this. Some I might talk about a team a little more in depth. Some I'll talk about a little more or less of like this. It's just, especially for this one, it's really hard to be optimistic for the Jaguars. I mean, they are they're bad. I mean, they're actually pretty bad. They got some good talent with some potential to be really good in the future. Like that fluke, not that fluke year, excuse me. Like that one year they had in 2017. But yeah, this year I think it's going to be another rough season for the Jags, where they're potentially looking at getting a number 1 pick for 3 years in a row.